Guys, welcome to Wake Up Well. I hope you've woken up well this morning. If not, let's read some Bible. That might make it better. Today we're continuing our theme of looking through the core values of our church. So we've been talking a lot about kind of coming out of lockdown and coming back to God after a time of kind of resilience, of battening down the hatches, getting through the last couple of years through COVID, and now re-entering into God's presence in a new way. So I think we're all really excited that God's going to be doing loads of new stuff in this season. And I really hope that that's true in your lives, as well as the life of the church in general, and the life of the well as well. So we're looking at Ephesians 4 today, and we're looking at this idea of sonship. So the idea that we're all, male or female, adopted into the family of God. We're God's sons and daughters. And so we're looking at Ephesians 4, verses 20 to 24. So I'll just read it. You, however, did not come to know Christ that way. Surely you heard of him and were taught in him in accordance with the truth that is in Jesus. You were taught with regard of your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. And so Paul here is talking about the new self, something that we often talk about. And it's not just that thing of, it's September now, new year, new you, what are your New Year's resolutions, what are we going to do? When it's the start of school, everyone kind of comes back after holidays and it's like, right, yeah, we're starting afresh. And this year even more so, because everyone's kind of coming back out into society. But that's not what Paul's talking about here. Paul's talking about coming out of our earthly selves and into our holy selves. It's almost, he talks about putting on the new self, but I kind of think of it as taking off the old self, of seeing what's underneath that God has actually made. That we've been, as we're born into this world, we pick up all of these earthly habits, we pick up all of these sin habits and sin beliefs as we go through life. And what we're called to here is to take all of that off and put on the new self. And the new self that's always been there, but as we enter into relationship with God, we're made alive in that. We know what that's like. We find something of our true identity as a son and daughter of God. And I think we often talk as Christians as towing this line between what there's grace in God, so we can do whatever we want, or we want to please God and we don't want to sin anymore, so we try and we try and we try and we strive for perfection. We strive to be holy, but we're doing it in our own self. So either I can do whatever I want because God has given me grace and because Jesus died so I can do what I want, or I'm trying to prove myself to God. I'm going to be the best at this, I'm going to be the best at this, I'm going to be the most holy, I'm going to make the best Wake Up Well videos. It's two ways of thinking that are both wrong, and that at least me, I slip into them very regularly. If I'm not in one of them, I'm over in the other one, and I'm kind of trying to walk this knife edge down the middle, and I keep falling off each way. One day I'm like, oh no, there's so much grace, and the other day I'm like, no, I need to prove myself. But what God says when we come to him is that neither of those is right. I think it's one of those things that it looks really simple on the surface, and then we learn how to do it and it's not. But I think instead of having our head stuck in one of those two valleys, when we're walking along this knife edge trying to balance and trying not to fall into each of them, that actually forget all of that, find out your true identity, and do everything from who you're made to be in God, who you're made to be as God's sons and daughters, and let that dictate how you live. So we're not trying to please God, but we're trying to be our authentic selves that God has made and loves. And I mean, it's easier said than done, but it's something that I've been playing around with for a while. I think it's one of those things I never want to record a wake up well that I don't feel the passage has like changed my life in any way. And I think that's something I've come back to recently, that in everything I do, I don't want to be trying too hard. I don't want to rely on grace. I want to be my true, authentic self, who God has made me to be. So yeah, it's quite a big theme this morning, but something that I'll leave you with today. I just bless you to go about your days, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Bye.